You are not hard to love. You are just easy to leave. And that is the part nobody says out loud. You have been told the problem is your standards, your expectations, your intensity. But here is the truth they are protecting you from. You are not too much. You have simply been making yourself available to people who are not built to hold what you are. Stop being grateful for the bare minimum. Gratitude is a virtue. Settling is a disease, dressed up as gratitude. You have read the books. You have done the journaling. You have sat in therapy and cried and grown and rebuilt yourself. And then handed all of that rebuilt version of yourself to someone who watched you heal and still chose to half love you. That is not a self-worth problem. That is a pattern problem. Here is what nobody in this niche will say to your face. You already know your value. You have always known it. What you keep doing, the late replies you forgive too fast, the plans you rearrange for people who never rearrange theirs, the way you explain yourself to people who never asked, that is not confusion about your worth. That is a trained behavior. And trained behaviors can be retrained. But only if you stop romanticizing the version of you that sacrifices herself and calls it love. Before you build anything new, you have to look clearly at what you have been building. Pull up your last 3 situationships in your mind. Not the feelings, the behavior. How many times did you text first? How many times did you accept a maybe and wait anyway? How many times did you watch someone show you exactly who they were and then spent 3 hours talking yourself out of what you saw? That is not love. That is negotiation. And you were the only one at the table. A woman who understands her architecture does not negotiate. She observes. She makes decisions based on data, not on potential. Potential is what people sell you when they have nothing to deliver today. Viral quote: "The most dangerous addiction is not substances. It is the fantasy of who someone could become if you just love them correctly enough." Stop. You are not a renovation project. You are not their emotional construction site. Either the building is standing or it is not. You were taught that a good woman explains herself, justifies herself, makes herself legible to everyone in the room so nobody feels uncomfortable. That training is costing you everything. The most commanding women you have ever encountered in your life, the ones who made you feel something just by walking in, they were not performing. They were simply not explaining. There is a woman you know. She is not the loudest. She does not overshare. When someone crosses her, she does not explode. She just becomes quiet. And somehow, everyone in the room feels it. That is not coldness. That is control. And control is the rarest currency a woman can carry. Viral quote: "Silence is not absence. It is presence that has decided not to perform." The next time you feel the pull to over-explain your boundaries, your decisions, your reasons for leaving, say nothing. Mean everything. You have a version of yourself that you call just being real. She is comfortable. She is familiar. She is also the reason you keep arriving at the same destination through different roads. The uncomfortable question is this: what if the identity you are most attached to is the very thing blocking the life you claim to want? You say you want depth, but you keep choosing chaos because chaos feels like passion, and you were never taught the difference. You say you want consistency, but when someone offers it, you feel bored in 2 weeks and mistake steadiness for emptiness. Viral quote: "You do not fear being abandoned. You fear being truly seen by someone stable enough to stay, because then you would have no excuse left." The alter ego is not a costume. It is an excavation. You are not creating someone new. You are peeling off the version of yourself that was built in survival mode, so the version built for excellence can finally breathe. This is the one that will cost you something to hear. The anxiety you feel when someone is too consistent, that is not instinct. That is a nervous system wired for chaos, recognizing that peace feels foreign. The electricity you feel for emotionally unavailable people, that is not chemistry. That is familiarity. You have been there before. The body knows the pattern, even when the mind is still writing the love story. Viral quote: "You call it a spark. Your body calls it a pattern. Learn the difference before it takes another 2 years from you." Real discernment is quiet. It does not race. It does not beg. It simply knows and waits for the evidence to confirm what it already registered in the first 10 minutes. Train yourself to be suspicious of urgency. Train yourself to be comfortable with slow, earned trust. That is not settling. That is sophistication. Here is the final uncomfortable truth. Most women in this space have mastered independence. They have built the life. They have cut the dead weight. They have locked in the discipline. And they are secretly exhausted and slightly hollow, because they forgot that being unplayable is not the same as being unreachable. You do not want to be a fortress. Fortresses are empty inside. There is a woman who has become so good at needing nothing that she has also become incapable of receiving anything. She repels care. She calls it self-sufficiency. Her body knows it is armor. True power is not needing someone. True power is choosing someone freely, from fullness, with both eyes open, and allowing yourself to be held without making it mean weakness. Viral quote: "The strongest version of you is not the one who never needs anyone. It is the one who chooses people from wholeness instead of desperation." Look at what you have survived. Not just the relationships. The version of yourself you had to let die to get here. The nights you talked yourself out of going back. The mornings you showed up anyway. That took something most people will never have. You are not waiting to become someone. You are already her. The only thing left is to stop shrinking into rooms that were never built for your scale. Change your behavior. The identity follows. The life follows. And if someone cannot meet you where you are going, let them stay exactly where they are. You keep moving.